and welcome to Manufacturing Sustainability 20-Minute Talks. I'm Gemma, your host for this series where I'll be talking with the people leading the conversation in manufacturing sustainability. Today's guest is Dr. Wolfgang Schlögl, Vice President of Digital Manufacturing Strategic Projects and Programmes at Siemens. Wolfgang studied manufacturing engineering at the University of Erlangen-Nuremberg, where he earned his doctorate in the field of simulation in production technology. He began his career at Daimler, now part of Mercedes, where he worked in knowledge management for production planning and later took on project management roles in assembly planning. Wolfgang joined Siemens in 2003, holding various positions in automation technology and software development before assuming his current role. At Siemens, Wolfgang is responsible for strategic projects and programmes focused on digital manufacturing, with an emphasis on improving efficiency and sustainability in production. He works within Siemens Digital Industries software, specifically in the digital manufacturing segment, which provides solutions for manufacturing operations management, data-driven manufacturing, and digital transformation in the manufacturing industry. Wolfgang, as you're about to find out, is a wealth of knowledge. And as usual, I open the conversation by asking him to tell us a bit more about his career journey and the work he does at Siemens. I hope you enjoy this episode.
Yeah, so I started my professional career at Mercedes. That was Daimler back then. I was in plant engineering and engineering for assembly of the cars. And then after my job at Mercedes, I moved over to Siemens and went first in the area of line building business for automotive. And that was about 20 years back, and we already used tools we called a digital factory back then with simulation and digital planning tools and engineering tools for the automotive lines. Today we would call that more working with digital twins in digital threads. So really building on my topics that I learned at Mercedes, going into Siemens, and then I moved into what Siemens is very good in automation, so with the automation tools, but still in the area of digital engineering, where I worked with several tools that we provided here for enhancing the productivity in manufacturing. And then recently I moved over to being responsible for larger government-funded projects where we contribute from the Siemens side. Perhaps you have heard of Catena X or Manufacturing X, those projects that deal with the supply chain and industrial data spaces. And in these projects, the sustainability has also quite an important part. So dealing here with energy reduction or with carbon footprint is also part in these projects. And with that, I have in my segment where I'm working in the digital manufacturing segment, also the role of the lead of the sustainability program.
Can you tell us where you see the biggest customer interests in sustainability topics within manufacturing then?
Yeah, typically earlier on, the main topics that manufacturers dealt with were time, quality, cost, so the typical three. But now, in the recent years, sustainability really became a fourth factor here for manufacturers because of regulatory compliance, but also the need of everybody to really contribute to the sustainability of the planet. And with that, we have different areas where manufacturers are looking into today when it comes to sustainability. The first ones are obviously the ones where they also could benefit in others of these four areas that I mentioned, especially cost. So when we reduce the energy need, when we buy cheaper green energy, we can reduce the cost too. So really looking in energy efficiency, but also in resource efficiency, using less material, for example, or using reused material in a circular economy kind of manufacturing. So these are the things that really directly also contribute to the cost goals. We have other goals like the decarbonization. or the people centricity of the production that not directly contribute to cost perhaps, but contribute to a green image of a company, really helping also in marketing and in sales today, helping our zero emission goals to be reached. And in terms of people centricity, if people have a better work environment, of course, the quality, another goal, quality will also become better. So really in this area of energy efficiency, resource efficiency, decarbonization, people centricity, these are the main pillars that manufacturers today can look at and improve sustainability, but directly also other goals.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's fair to say that sustainability happens now at all levels of the business. It's not unique to one area. So speaking of all areas of the business, obviously Siemens is a huge organisation and we know that they'll be engaged with sustainability throughout the business. But can you tell us about the work Siemens is doing to enhance sustainability for manufacturers in your area of the business?
Yeah, so besides of Siemens also working on a green image, because it's really needed today to become more sustainability as a company with own labels like the Siemens EcoTech and internal tools like internal green digital twin methodology. We in our segment, Siemens Industry Software, Digital Manufacturing, we contribute in these areas that I mentioned: energy efficiency, decarbonization, resource efficiency, people centricity in several areas. You could fill quite a few episodes, and that you're planning this anyways, with specific examples that we are having here in these different fields. Just let me mention one small thing. When you use automated production in your manufacturing sites with robots, you need to grip the parts, and typically those grippers are quite heavy, complex metal constructions.
Yeah.
Today we can manufacture these grippers in an automated way with additive manufacturing, with a shape that is still sturdy, allows to grip the parts, but are much lighter and cheaper to manufacture. So that directly also contributes, and that would also be a use case perhaps to talk in a later episode. But today I really would go more in a specific example regarding decarbonization of production. So that would be my topic. I would like to go a little bit deeper in our discussion today.
Yeah, no, that would be great. And so in that respect then, what do you see as prerequisites for enhancing sustainability on the shop floor?
Yeah, when we look at this specific example, decarbonization, this means really this has two aspects. So the prerequisite is transparency. Yeah, it's always the transparency when it comes to sustainability. What do we have today? What impacts do we have? And what can we do with this? So the first is transparency. The second is the optimization. Yeah. And when we look on the shop floor, and we would like to come to a more carbon neutral economy using more carbon friendly products, we would like to improve our manufacturing regarding carbon creation. And when we create such a transparency on what we use today, and carbon typically means energy. Yeah. Using energy in those, perhaps if you're familiar with sustainability, you know these scope 1, 2, 3 emissions. And when we look at scope 1, the stuff that we are controlling directly in our factory, then we would like to know how much energy specifically is used when we manufacture a product, a part, or an assembly. And we would like to measure that, and we have tools for measuring that, energy management. And when we have that transparency, we can optimize it. And today we are really looking in rescheduling job orders in a way that we using perhaps energy in a time, or doing the energy heavy jobs in a time where energy is cheap or comes from renewable energy. And we can use scheduling to reduce the peaks in the energy consumption. And then we would report that as the carbon footprint that is attached to this specific product or batch, and can send that in the network of the supply chain to build the full product carbon footprint then at the end. So now we are really looking more in depth in a way to work with the real carbon footprint and not with just an estimation coming out of databases. Because when you really know the details, then you can really go for optimization.
Obviously, the impacts of the shop floor reach beyond the factory doors, Wolfgang. So what external factors do manufacturers need to consider when they're addressing their sustainability progress?
I already mentioned these scope 1 to 3 emissions. Yeah? Looking at scope 1, you can look on your shop floor, you can look in the materials that you're buying with the costs that come with these materials, where we already come in this scope 2 and 3, which means the energy that you're buying, and also scope 3, really the stuff that you get out of the supply chain. And that's not only the material, what it actually is, with the carbon footprint, but with the energy that was used to create these raw materials or materials that you again use to manufacture or assemble stuff, but also when you look at the transport, because transport is a really high factor today with the worldwide economy. And it's really a difference if you transport something with a ship, with a train, with the lorry, or with a plane. And we have today possibilities to attach also the constraint of carbon creation or energy consumption to tools that plan your logistic chain. So when you look beyond your own production, you look, of course, in those scope 2, scope 3 emissions. And then you come also to the element of logistics. And this is really an area where you can have huge effects in becoming more sustainable when using really less carbon used transportation methods. And as I mentioned in the beginning, we are not alone at Siemens. We are working in consortia projects funded by the German government, where different companies work on these topics, and we are creating industrial data spaces that are open, where everybody can attach with open standards, and for example, create now real carbon footprints for your production, even attaching information from the supply chain, and internally use this data then again for optimization, having sustainability as a fourth constraint besides quality, time, and cost.
Yeah, yes. And, even as such a large organization as Siemens, collaboration is key. It sounds like that to really make change and to drive real sustainable progress, we have to collaborate. What would you say on that subject?
Yeah, in sustainability, really making the world a better place. This is a topic for us all. It starts at everybody's own usage of stuff in your day-by-day life, but also goes to bigger corporation and even countries, and not one company or one country can solve all these issues. Currently, we see really the trend that with those net zero emission proposals or promises, actually, with really deadlines, many companies go towards the goal. Many companies, many countries go in that direction, and not one company can do that alone. And so we are really working here in consortia, especially when it comes to, again, the transparency. Data needs to be shared in a standardized way. And we start here in these consortia in Germany, but this is, again, something international. It's not German. It's a worldwide topic. And one statement here would be the International Manufacturing Acts, where those ideas, topic standards that we start to develop now get connected to similar activities in other companies. And for example, the the carbon footprint, which is an extremely important thing in climate, helping to roll back climate change. Here, the international collaboration is extremely important. And with those projects and with our contribution from Siemens, we are hopefully working on that really big goal together.
I'm wondering, those smaller manufacturers who are right at the start of this journey and perhaps feel a bit overwhelmed, would you really encourage them then to focus on the transparency as a starting point?
Actually, the smaller companies, they are typically quite cost sensitive.
Yeah.
So when you come with more regulations, it's always a problem that you're really complying to that stuff. They really don't want that because they don't see really the impact or the usefulness for their business or for their company. For smaller companies, we see solutions today that also help in other criteria, like in cost. When you go for energy efficiency, with that also using less carbon, you can implement tools where you say, okay, where and when do I buy my energy?
Yeah.
Okay, we come to transparency here too, but really being more energy efficient, having tools to support which energy heavy jobs do I when the energy is cheaper, for example, or can I flatten my peaks in the energy curve? The second thing is circular economy, really being able to perhaps sell my scrap material on a circular economy market. We deal with a very small machine builder in the moment, very small. And okay, he uses brass as a main material, and that's an important raw material. And so he would be interested in selling that on the highest price. So we are dealing with this company also in these funded projects on mechanisms for circular economy, to being able to make use of your scrap material in a monetizable way, and also in being able to perhaps reuse machine parts more efficiently that was possible today with a product passport. So again, product passports are also an important, interesting topic for circular economy, to really know what happened to this component of the machine. Can I reuse it? Can I refurbish it? Or at the end, do I have to recycle it? Yeah. So even for the smaller ones, I would recommend go for the topics where you also see benefits for your other KPIs. The regulatory stuff, okay, they need to comply, but hopefully we also can offer some lightweight solutions from the Siemens side, for example, for product carbon footprint, to comply to regulations, but not having really big cost or effort with that.
What are your hopes for the future of sustainability in manufacturing? What do you hope to see change?
The good thing is that we already see a lot. So it's not only talking, it's really tangible action that we see today, not only at Siemens, but also in other companies. We see that sustainability really becomes a main pillar in a company goal. And that's not only because of earning more money, it's really about being more responsible for what we are doing. Yeah. And I'm really optimistic that this continues, because sustainability is not a short-term trend. It's really something to stay, because as you see what's happening outside with our world, it's not something that you can roll back in 3 years. So you will probably need 30, 50 years to have really an impact. And yeah. I'm really glad that we see now with big countries, big companies, even to smaller companies, that a mind change has started. And today, it's not a company must deal with sustainability, especially manufacturing companies that have a huge impact on the emissions that we send to the outside world when we produce our goods. So I'm somehow optimistic when I see what's happening, especially also in my company, when I see the priorities that we're having here. And I'm glad that we are working here with partners in bigger projects and even internationally. So I can just say, okay, jump on these trains that are there already, jump on these trains and go towards those pillars that I mentioned, be it energy efficiency to really save costs, go towards carbon reduction, which really helps our world, or go for people centricity, help your people on the shop floor to have a better working place, and that will really improve also your production quality.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that I can really work in this area of sustainability today, because that also makes my life a little bit better, to say it this way, because I really think I do something meaningful with that.
Wolfgang, thank you so much for taking the time out to talk with us today. It's been a pleasure talking with you. This has been 20-Minute Talks.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Was also a pleasure for me. Hopefully I got some interesting aspects here covered in my talk. Would be good if some audience would have some food for thought here. Gemma, was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.